Ferdinand says, Mr. Cheeks writing. Hold on. It said, Mr. Cheeks writing, CL Smooth, AZ Treach, Master Killer, Grand Pooba, Ed OG, Large Professor, Pharaoh Monch, Sticky Fingers, Buckshot, Chic Luch, Underrated. That is a great list. And you know
We have
what? We're going to get to some of the most underrated MCs in hip hop. Who are your top 5 most underrated MCs in hip hop, in your personal opinion?
You're putting me on the spot. After watching that verses, I definitely have to put MJG in there.
Okay.
So MJG is in there. The guy that we've been talking about in 1995, AZ, which we need to wrap up and then kind of maybe getting into our ratings. AZ would be there. So we have MJG, AZ. Quite frankly, the way that y'all talk about Game makes me feel like Game is underrated as an MC. Like the way people modern day talk about Game, relationship to his peers, because every time we bring up Game, people literally clown us like we're crazy. And when I look at his catalog and I look at his records, I'm like, man, he's better than some guys that y'all think flow better than him. And I would say
there's been a bad MO put on Game, I think, because of all the collaborations, and I think that
and the collaborations and the name dropping have hurt him. But what I'm trying to tell people is like we're actually like almost a decade from him really doing that.
I think what Game needs to do, and he kind of did it on. Well, what he needs to do is do a record with no features like that. You know what I'm saying? Because I know he can do it. Because some of his strongest songs are just him.
The Doctor's Advocate and LAX are not feature heavy. And
yeah,
those are dope ass albums. They're not. They have appropriate amount of features. On The Doctor's Advocate, you got a verse from Exhibit, a verse from Corrupt, a verse from Busta, a verse from Nas, and a hook from Jamie Foxx.
You know what I think happened to the game?
And a verse from Ye.
You know what I think happened to the Game, and it's kind of like the reverse of the Eminem thing. He had the machine, and he walked away from the machine. He kept making quality music, but when you walk away from the machine and people don't see you everywhere anymore, it makes people feel like you fell off, even if you didn't.
Right.
007 with the super chat says, go back and listen to Do or Die. I feel you on the Jizza discussion, but the way AZ was chopping up words was absurd. Verbal intercourse left Raekwon in awe. Enough said.
No, I know he is on Do or Die. He's the guy that on the actual record, and before we let any titty boppers try to stop us, we'd rather put our head through the propellers of a helicopter. That guy? Yeah, no, I know who that guy is on there.
Mr. Pragmatic says Shook One's beat is up there with Gangstar's Mass Appeal. I agree.
Okay.
I think
what's that kid saying on Rather Unique? We was all fucked up with a mayor named Giuliani. You could try to blind me, analyze, but can't define me. My words divine, intertwined with Gandhi, sparks for feeble. I leave your nostrils hard to breathe through because my cerebrals is more like the high plains and the Hebrews. My mic devotion brings out my deepest emotions, overdosing wannabes. Coaxing, send them through convulsions, too hard to follow. You took a bite but couldn't swallow. Your mind's boggled, but I'm as deep as Donald Goyle's novel. My whole persona kind of lay back like a recliner. And since a minor, I've been fucking with marijuana. Yeah, no. That guy, no. He's in this conversation. We're having this conversation because he is immaculate on Do or Die, and he actually doesn't get enough credit. Like, what I'm trying to tell you is that I'm actually putting him in the conversation over Raekwon and Ghostface in 95 because Raekwon and Ghostface are helping each other on the Purple Tape and don't have the best verse on their own damn Wu-Tang album. And Nas don't have an album and Big don't have an album, so they're out too. So that would leave us with, hold on, and if we want to be fair to Corrupt, let's be fair to Corrupt because Dog Food is 95 and he's great on Dog Food and I love me some Dog Food. Mike.
Yeah. LP says AZ don't answer the questions who, what, and where.
So listen to what I'm saying. And so if you want to go top 595, let's say, and this is, I think, a fair list.
What do you think about Andre? That's 96. I'm tripping.
It's 95. All he has is Benzor. Yeah. And I think, is Everlasting from the Nothing to Lose soundtrack 95?
Or is that 96? That's 96.
That's 96, 97, right?
Yeah.
Right. So Corrupt for Dog Food, Prodigy for The Infamous. Well, here's what they both have. Help, because they're in a duo. Okay?
Yep.
So they're not taking on the bulk of solo work that AZ and Jizza and Tupac put on. So what I would tell you is that although I probably loved Prodigy the most that year, if we're talking about MC of the Year, we're going to really weight the material. This conversation probably needs to be about AZ, GZA, and Tupac, because they did the best solo work. Let's go.
I might go with Tupac on that. LP says Fonte is truly the most underrated. Jay Short says, you guys never mentioned Exhibit. He's definitely underrated. I was just talking about Exhibit the other day. I think I might have been talking on the phone about Exhibit. I don't think I've talked about Exhibit on the show. I'm okay with Exhibit being on the underrated list. This is who I had. I had CL Smooth, right?
I'll put him in. He's in mine too.
All right, I got CL Smooth, and this is in no particular order. I think AZ's there, but this is the thing about AZ, man. He's become such a common person that people name in the underrated stance. It's like, is he really underrated then? Because so many people recognize how underrated he is.
Can we stop for a second?
Yeah.
He's where Black Thought used to be.
Exactly. And we were talking about that offline. Like, Black Thought and AZ used to be the people that got named the most. And then somehow Black Thought has made that jump from underrated list to everybody's top 15 now.
Yeah. Oh, he's segued into another stratosphere. Yes. He's no longer underrated.
I think that the AZ's on that border too, where it's like whenever you mention underrated, AZ's the first person mentioned. So it's one of those things where it's like, okay, well, I kind of want to go with the people that no one ever mentions. So like I said, CL Smooth. I think the Treach thing is interesting.
I think the Treach thing is interesting too,
I think Treach is it because, and I say that because for similar reasons why I say CL Smooth. Treach has one of the greatest hip-hop records, or two of the greatest hip-hop records of all time. One of them is his solo record, which is OPP, and we never mention him on the top whatever list.
I'll agree with you on that, and I actually think that he has three of the best hip-hop records ever, because I think Uptown Anthem is up there, too.
Well, Benny's on both that and Hip-Hop Hooray, so, but...
No, I get you, but what I'm saying is that, he's made all-time great stuff.
Yeah.
So I would say, where was I? I was at
You
AZ,
said The Game.
Yeah, AZ, MJG, The Game. Who would my fifth person be? I don't know. See, I think about somebody. See, here's what I mean. I like people who have fulfilled their potential, because I think like somebody like Rascass is still underrated. You feel me?
Right.
But it's like, has he fulfilled his potential? It's like, we'll know. It's like, I see people saying Corrupt in here. It's like,
what do you think about Big Boy from Outkast?
How underrated is he at this point? You think he's still underrated?
He might go in the underappreciated category.
He's more underappreciated than he is underrated, because he gets underappreciated about the gravitas that comes with Dre. Not necessarily underrated anymore. I think he has been recognized by his peers and people outside of the region as an elite MC. You get what I'm saying? Like when I hear him, when I heard him, you remember the I'm So Hood remix?
Mm-hmm.
He's got the best verse on there.
Well, he might be the best rapper on there.
Cause hold on, thank you, because he was the best motherfucking rapper on there, Mike. He's the best rapper on the I'm So Hood remix. So how was like, and I remember that moment because I was like, damn, I'm like, Daddy Fat Sacks came through, and then I was like, hold on, I'm like, oh, he the best rapper on the song, like yeah. So that's what I mean about him being underrated. It's like, no, a lot of times he'd be like, no, he's the best rapper in here, you know.
Jay Short says, Dirt All By My Lonely, Naughty by Nature, Treach, classic. Yeah, I gotta put Treach on this list, man, because Treach is does. I was listening to Aaliyah's One in a Million album. I was like, I forgot Treach is on here.
I was listening to Girl Like You this past week too, Mike. I forgot he's on there too, and they're doing the back and forth. Yeah. I'm looking for a girl like you. Well, here I go. You won't lie to. Well, tell me more. I'm looking.
When you think about it, Treach's whole vibe was like that whole early 90s sound anyway.
That's why he's been forgotten, Mike. He might be the best representative of that early 90s era that the sound got lost in because hip-hop was changing. Because think about it, like, he has Tupac stories that nobody else has. Because Tupac is actually the transitional figure of his era, but guess who's with Tupac a lot of those times?
Yeah. I mean, even remember when he put out, when Naughty by Nature put out Feel Me Flow.
I love Feel Me Flow.
Killing it. You about to feel the chronicles of a bionicle lyrically spitting, just hitting. I'm on a mission and just hitting. Yeah, he just kept going.
So that's 95. Poverty's Paradise is 95, right? Because they won the best rap album over Dirty that year.
Yep.
Oh, Feel Me Flow's one of the best mic performances that year.
Yeah.
Period. I don't give a fuck about the single. Like, the mic shit going on. Forget if it's a single or not. You hear the mic shit going on? This guy's ripping the mic in a ski snoot at a snowstorm. Like, on the video.
So
like,
you got you got Treach. You got AZ.
No. Treach not in this in 95.
Okay. No, I'm talking about most underrated lists. We're talking about two different lists, I guess.
You want to know what? How about this? People say I always stick to my guns and I never change. I had somebody else that I wanted to put in, but about everything that we're saying about Treach and about the fact that we're actually about to talk about his MC capability, I will say Treach, because here's what I tell you, and I always remember this. You know, I pulled up on my cousin today. He's taking his vacation this week. Remember we were talking about how I pulled out people's instinctive linear notes and I couldn't even remember pulling them out? Well, I remember when he bought Ready to Die. And I can remember pulling out the notes to Ready to Die. And I can remember Biggie shouting out Treach in 94. And I was thinking to myself, damn, this nigga Big is like looking at Treach still? Because he was
said
talking
OPP's a crazy record. I remember him saying that.
Yep.
Because what Treach was doing with literary devices on OPP.
OPP, how can I explain it? I take a frame, I frame it.
It's a brilliant record.
Jumping, shouting, saying it. O is for other, P is for people scratching temple. The last P, well, that's not that simple. Busted. He sounded like he's a professor. You want to talk about some literary devices? Literary devices.
OPP is brilliant.
No, the opening is literally like a professor opening up a class and telling you how the syllabus is going to go. OPP, how can I explain it? I take a frame, I frame it to have you all jumping, shouting, saying it. O is for other, P is for people scratching temple. The last P, well, that's not that simple. And then he's like, well, let's start class. And then the beat drop. Boom, 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 boom. No, he on time. Want to talk about some literary devices up in this piece.
Yo, what was that he did on Hip-Hop Parade? It was like, you heard a lot about a brother gaining more ground, getting low down, or do the showdown with any little hoe round. I don't know who you believe in. He said, you put your heart in a part of a part that spreads apart. Dang. When you had kill
him. When we had a spark,
yeah. Mr. Pragmatic says, AZ is to Nas what Kobe was to Jordan. Seeing the better version kind of hurts AZ's status. LP says, name a bad Fonte song or album. Not many rappers are as relatable, touch the subject matter that he does, has the wordplay that he does. AZ, Game, CL Smooth, just rap. You from the Carolinas, right? What do you think about Fonte being on a underrated list?
I'm okay with it, but
is Fonte better than MJG?
Listen to what I'm about to say.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Fonte is almost too everyday people for his own good in rap, and that doesn't play well in rap all the time.
Superhero stuff goes in rap.
Superhero shit is what goes down in rap, Mike. So it's like, no, it's Fonte because he's like a working man's champ with it. You know what I'm saying? And I like Fonte. I respect Fonte. And Fonte is really dope on the mic. And not situationally, I'm talking about performance-wise on the mic. He doesn't do anything awe-inspiring that makes you say, that's that nigga. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And he doesn't have those next-level bars. Like, I always go back to that. This is what I mean. I always go back to this literary device as a bar because it changed the way that I thought about rhyming. When Nas said on New York State of Mind, my rhyming is a vitamin held without a capsule. I was like, that's a punchline that doesn't punch. It hits somewhere different. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, that's piercing a different place of what a rhyme and rhyme scheme should be when he's talking that way. And for how Fonte rhymes, I need to hear more of that style of rhyming on that level. But I get what people are saying.
It's very relatable in that sense, though.
It's very relatable.
Ray Realm says, 5 of the truly underrated MCs he got love: The Genius, Rise Kaz, Elzai, Shay Noir, and Wise Intelligent. I like the Wise Intelligent pick, too. It's another person we don't talk about enough.
That's upstate.
Yeah. Man says, Big Pun was on 1999. Naughty's Fury. You know, I don't think I've heard that album all the way through. You know, another Naughty by Nature record I love, too. It was Craziest. Now, I know that was before that album, but Craziest was hard.
Yeah, Detroit niggas is the craziest.
Yo, that nigga Treach was going
Craziest.
wild on that record. And
How
then he
about this?
called out
Craziest was
Jermaine
one of those.
for not
Craziest
for
was one
biting
of
him
those
on.
records.
Go ahead, my bad.
No. Go ahead.
I was gonna say he called out Jermaine Dupri for what I'm saying, the whole crisscross thing.
Well, no. Well, here's the thing about it, and this is what I mean about Treach. Like a lot of those records. How about this? Even when we talk about Eminem and we have this conversation where we're like, well, where are the hip hop songs at? Well, Naughty by Nature was out here making hip hop records, but they were still doing Uptown Anthem and Craziest and stuff like that.
Yeah.
To the hip hop core and audience, in case those hits stop flowing one day, you can still go out and perform those records. They can still do Uptown Anthem. They can still do Craziest. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I'm kind of talking about that M's been missing.
What do you think about Mr. Cheeks?
How about this?
Very talented songwriter.
Mr. Cheeks is a very talented songwriter, Mike.
Mm-hmm.
Very talented. Like Lost Boys on Legal Drug Money?
Yeah.
Is that 95?
Yep.
So here's what I'll tell you about Mr. Cheeks and Corrupt in 1995. You know who's really hurting them? How bone-chilling Prodigy is as a group member of Mobb Deep on the Infamous. Ain't no group members sounding better than Prodigy or Mobb Deep in 1995. I'm sorry. Like, all due respect to Corrupt, Cheeks, like, all you dudes, it's like...
Well, Cheeks was a little different, though, because he was kind of like a solo MC in a group. Right. He didn't really have to share bars. And I know people are bringing up Grand Puba, too. We can...
No, we're not talking about no Grand Puba in 95. No, we're not.
Oh, no. We're just talking about underrated MCs.
No. We got him on the list of underrated MCs. I'm not a fan of Puba. Me and my cousin Six pulled up today. We had a conversation. I'm going to get into it about it. Puba's one of those guys. It's like when we get to Puba, people just going to have to explain to me why they like him and how. You know what I'm saying?
He was slightly before our time, I think. Because usually when I get the Puba talk, it's from people who are slightly older than me.
Cuz 4 years older than us.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Saying.
Yeah.
Like, so when Cuz told me, I was like, Cuz, what about Puba? He was like, I was like, what about Chubb Rock? He was like, Chubb Rock can rap. He was like, he came around during that dance time, though, so we don't know how he would have adjusted to the era, Cuz. And I was like, that's valid. You know what I mean? When he talked about Chubb, because you and I both like Chubb on the mic, but he was talking about that adjustment period, because that's that Tupac Treach time, too.
Pasta News from De La Soul, I think is super underrated.
He loved Pasta News. He asked me, he was like, y'all covered Fife and Q-Tip yet? And I was like, we got to take Pasta News off till we cover Fife and Q-Tip. And he looked at me, he looked at me kind of like disgusted, like nigga, like, yeah, you fucking up.
Well, you know Q-Tip's my guy, right? So I think of everybody in that whole crew, in that collective, I think Pasta News is probably the most talented, the best MC.
He's the best lyricist.
He's the best lyricist. There you go.
He's the best lyricist out of Native Tongues.
I think that Q-Tip might be the best MC, right? Being the best front man.
Most tools in his toolbox. Yeah. I don't know if he's the best MC, because like Cuz was telling me today, he's like, I know Q-Tip is better. He's like, but give me Fife, because Fife does like that bully foot rap.
People love Fife. I love Fife. Rest in peace to
those
Fife.
People. Yeah, Six is one of those people. He's like, because he didn't know Fife had dropped the album. And so I just sent him Fife's album. I was like, you need to listen to it. And he's like, that was really more big bro thing. And I'm like, no. I was like, that's that bully foot rap shit that you like the Redman do that's like on Fife album. He's like, oh, I was like, yeah. And that's when he was kind of like, oh, okay. Like, yeah, send it to me.
Ray Realms of the Super Chat says, 5 of the truly underrated MCs. He got another batch. He got Rock Marciano, my God. AZ. Saha the Prince, Big Boy, and Ace Hood. I like the Ace Hood pick.
Saha and Ace Hood don't have enough work.
Ace Hood needs his appreciation, though, because, I'm just going to be real. I know we got 200-something people in the room. I feel like Meek Mill took Ace Hood's style. I do. Yeah. Took his whole flow, his whole approach, all that. AK's the Curtain says, Sean Price? Yes, man. Sean Price is my guy.
Sean Price? That's your guy, Mike. They named two of your guys.
They naming my guys, man. Rock Marciano and Sean Price.
I said, y'all are naming Mike guys. Rock Marcy, Sean Price.
Yeah.
Somebody said Buckshot. Buckshot's underrated. So I'll tell people this.
Buckshot had a moment. For real.
He did.
For real, for real.
Okay, so I'm just going to briefly run through the people who are not on our list today, who we're still going to cover, that we have down already. Mia X, Ja Rule, Fat Joe, E40, Too Short, Guru, Black Thought, Buckshot, 8 Ball, Killer Priest, Special Ed, Pasudnos, Grand Puba,
Pasadus.
Posnews. I'm sorry. I got to get that right.
You probably just call him plug one. You know what I mean?
You want to know what? I've been doing that my whole life, Mike.
No, I know. It's all good.
It's like ingrained in me. I got to change it. And Chubb Rock. So all those guys that y'all are talking about, we got coming. And Heavy D too. So like people that y'all are naming, some of the people that y'all are naming we're actually about to cover right now.
Jay Short says, the Brat. I have no proof, but I think that she clearly is the best female rapper. If it should, he said, I would have signed to a real if she would have signed to a real hip hop label, she'd be in the top 10. That's funny you say that. And respect to Jermaine Dupri, I do think that he even said this himself. It took him a minute to actually find the direction for Brat, and I think he never really took hold of what her sound was going to be. I think she never really found a sound. I think even with Funkdafied, they were piggybacking off of G-Funk and everything, and once that was done on the next album, what was it, Another Tantrum, she just didn't have a sound, really. And that's unfortunate, man, because the Brat was really dope. Give It To You, the remix, is my favorite female rap song ever. Yeah.
Well, can we speak to that? So I think that's what happened. I think that she just came along in a time where she never sat aside. I told you, Funkdafied is probably my favorite rap album by a female rap artist on a personal level. And the stuff on there is great. It just definitely sounds Snoop and Biggie inspired.
Yeah.
And if she and so I don't know if that's fair to Jermaine to say that if she would have been with a more hip hop oriented label. I want you to understand that it's like, well, they didn't know what to do with female MCs. Like Latifah and Light's albums wasn't like that. They're solid, but they're not like that. Lil' Kim's hardcore is an achievement because of the money put behind it. You get what I'm saying? It's like, no. She got marketing. She got a budget.
Well, she was behind the guy that was running rap, too.
Right. She got Big and Puff behind her. So it's different from her. What I'm trying to tell y'all is that Funkdafied isn't even the same without Jermaine Dupri. Because
you're right. And she doesn't sell a million. She doesn't become the first female rapper to go platinum without Jermaine Dupri's tutelage either. Coop, you there?
No. I'm here. No. I'm just thinking. I'm just trying to go back to the time, and I'm trying to think of a female artist that wasn't sexualizing themselves overtly, like to the point of it being like borderline prostitution, that would have got the record play that Brat got from JD. So when people got to understand that like Funkdafied came out in 1994, like you got to understand what the climate is like for women.
It was still kind of baggy at that point. I don't think things really changed until 95, 96.
Right, but in 1994, what I'm saying is that she's wearing baggy and braids and going platinum. That's a big accomplishment. Because even when you're saying that, Mike, it's like, Roughneck by MC Lyte. MC Lyte had changed her whole style up.
Yes, she did.
That was about the labels.
LP says, the roam like a cell phone in Italy in search of the real shit he got that's sprinkled throughout his music. But I feel you, Coop, to every man. He's talking about Fonte and the every man comment. I think that, everybody's approach and contribution is needed in hip hop. But yeah, I agree with Coop when you say that when you have like a certain persona, it reaches a certain demographic and a certain listener, shall I say.
Hold on. So how about this? Let me say this. Some of the traits that I expressed about Fonte, I feel like Q-Tip has the same traits. But guess what? Q-Tip has a much better voice. He has a better delivery. He is a better producer. You get what I'm saying? It's like Q-Tip does the same thing, but he got a lot of other tricks in his bag that help it play well. Like Get a Hold is the type of record that probably inspired Fonte.
I was going to say, you're right. Yeah, you're right.
Get a Hold is out of Fonte's bag.
The words are coming in my head right now as you say it. You're right.
That's straight out of Fonte's bag. Mike, what's my favorite Q-Tip solo record?
Get a Hold.
Get a Hold. Is Fonte Q-Tip, though, entertainment-wise, voice-wise, delivery-wise?
Q-Tip has star power. And like you said another thing when you said that he's a great producer. He has that, Kanye has that element that Q-Tip has. He understands how to put together records. He doesn't have to be the strongest MC to put together great songs. Because he's such a talented musician that he has the star power, he has the wit, and he has the production ability where he could just put together a Bonita Applebum and really just be talking on the song.
No, get a hold, Mike. That song is not complicated.
No.
Like that third verse.
It never is. Electric Relaxation isn't either.
That third verse is as lyrical as you'll ever hear Q-Tip get.
Yeah.
And we just getting started. Got to redirect his vision. Got the beauty of Famal plus the visions plus dimensions like a prison. Your minds are locked down like a prison. Y'all really need to go lay down because positivity is risen. We hitting. Your tech, how strong we to be broken. No, that's Fonte. That's where he got that from. So
you know, it's funny, man. People talk about Magoo being the wackest rapper ever, which I don't agree with. But you can hear how influential Q-Tip is to Magoo, even. Like, just the approach. But again, Magoo's not the producer that, Q-Tip is and whatever, and it just doesn't turn out the same. But it's wild, man. Q-Tip is incredibly talented. And he's birthed a lot of people that people might not even realize that he's birthed.
And guess what? He doesn't have no superhero persona.
No.
And because he doesn't have a superhero type of persona, how about this? Like him and Busta Rhymes, who you got better? Busta. A lot of that has to do with what? The persona.
Yeah, they both got great voices on two different trajectories.
Right, because Q-Tip is a star, Mike, but Busta is a superstar now, isn't he? Q-Tip's a star. Busta's a superstar.
LP says West Coast. LP says West Coast was so big in the early 90s that it made CL, Treach, Plug One, Chubb, Heavy D, Puba underrated over time because their music gets overshadowed. Yo, the real Leonard Washington said something I thought was interesting. He said, I was going to say the Brat should have been signed to Death Row, but look at how they shoved Rage. Shaking my head. But in a vacuum, though, if she was on Death Row?
No. It wasn't going to play, Mike.
You don't think so? You don't think... All right, let's just say, hypothetically, The Chronic, Doggy Style, and then the Brat has Funkdafied, produced by Dr. Dre in 94.
Snoop had already met Rage on tour in like 92, 93 in VA.
Well, let's just say that Rage didn't exist, or she was somewhere else, right?
Right.
Let's just say, hypothetically, in a vacuum, the Brat is on Death Row during that run. Funkdafied the Brat with Dre and Snoop.
Okay, so listen to what I'm trying to tell you. I was trying to say this in a nice way. I'm going to say it in a very, very direct way so people understand. This misogynistic, male-dominated industry, none of them were about to give her the time and the attention and the care and the actual A&Ring that Jermaine Dupri gave her. Nobody else with his kind of clout was about to give her as a woman in 1993-94 what Jermaine Dupri gave the Brat. So everybody thinking that Puff was about to do it or Suge was about to do it or all these other guys, he had already proven himself to be the only man for the job, and here's why. Well, he was willing to take on teenagers and make them rap stars. You get what I'm saying? He was more flexible than the other guys. Taking on a female rap artist like her was not the thing to do. Those other guys were not going to take her on. As a matter of fact, people taking on the female rap artist literally comes from the Brat and Funkdafied going platinum.
You're actually right, because before then, it was like female MCs was kind of on their own.
No, you literally had to be Latifah, Lauryn Hill, or MC Lyte type of nice to get a deal.
Hello. But see, Lauryn hadn't even broke yet. I mean, they were on Blood and on Reality.
They had a deal.
They had a deal. The Fugees had a deal, and they had dropped a brick, too. Like, it wasn't proven like that. But what you're saying, though, when you talk about Latifah, Lyte, they weren't, like, in crews, like, So Def.
I mean,
like
Latifah had Flavor Unit, but
she was a boss. Latifah's different. And people need to understand that. Like, Flavor Unit has been around for 30 years, and it's still going. Latifah's been a boss.
So let's stop that for a second.
Well, I guess she was in the collective that, you know what I'm saying, with Dayline. Yeah.
No, so Latifah's part of the, how about this? She ain't the tail, she's part of the head, or heads, okay?
Oh, yeah, definitely. She's different.
So in Latifah in 1994, what is Latifah doing?
She's doing a sitcom. She's doing Living Single.
Okay, so let's go back to the other person in her stratosphere. What is MC Light doing in 1994?
She's doing Roughneck. Was Black Rain, was that 94 or 95 for Latifah?
93, I believe.
Was it? Okay. Great records
Hold on,
on
Black
there.
Rain
Though.
might be 92, Mike.
Y'all look it up in the chat real
I
quick.
think Black Rain's actually 92, 93, maybe.
Man
so
that
here's what
says Heavy D is straight Jamaican, representing to the fullest. Yes.
Hold on, listen to what I'm about to say about MC Light, and I say this respectively. Well, right after Funkified came out, you hear her with Puff and JD, Cold Rocker Party, and Keep On. Correct me if I'm wrong.
But you're right. That's off of the momentum of the Brat.
That's all.
She was even in the Give It To You remix.
Correct. You want to know why?
Well, it's video, excuse me.
Because the Brat was the first person to come along since her and kind of reset the pace. Because Latifah was a boss and kind of bossed herself out of the situation.
Yeah.
Light start playing the game that the Brat had kind of set on fire for a minute. And that set the female game on fire. And then you got Kim and Foxy. After this. Ray
Realm says, deeper than underrated, deeper than underappreciated. Give me the top 5 forgotten dope rappers of all time.
Special Ed.
Yeah.
Right. Special Ed's forgotten about.
Special Ed was dope as hell.
Special Ed's dope as hell.
LP says, Suge had Rage and Left Eye and did nothing with it.
Yeah, the Nina album, the non-identity, non-applicable album. Yeah, it did nothing with the Nina album. And that was late 90s.
I think Left Eye is another one that can kind of go in that category. I know we remember Left Eye from being on TLC, but as an MC and how nice she was on the mic, I don't think people really understand how dope of a lyricist that Left Eye was.
How about this? Left Eye's better than the Brat as an MC to me, but I don't have enough evidence.
No, you're right.
I don't have enough evidence to prove that.